Hello, everybody. This is Dr. Duncan McCollum coming to you live from Santa Cruz. And I have a great question. I was enjoying the holiday with my son. My daughter and her newborn baby went up to visit the in-laws, and our family, for the first time in many years, kind of scattered on Thanksgiving. So my son Angus and I packed up the bag, grabbed the fishing poles, and headed over to the east side of the Sierras and spent a couple days in Mammoth, a couple days in um, Pyramid Lake. We had a blast. It was so fun. But we really had a chance to sit down and talk, as not just father son, but as good friends. And, we had a good time just talking about what's, important to us, what we see for our future for the next few years, and beyond. And what came to my mind, and I love writing books. I've got a book coming out really soon, my third health book. It's in the New Hope series. I'm going to keep the title quiet for now, for my own sake. But we were talking about my son has an amazing job building driverless cars for a big corporation. He's on the search and research and discovery department where they're putting together these things and then going and back east and showing them to the big car companies. So it's pretty cool. But, we were talking about it and he goes, it's a great job, but it isn't really my thing. It isn't really what I see myself doing. It's not where my love or my interests are. And I really appreciated him saying that, but it's also good that he's got a job in a corporation that he can understand what it's like to make good money. But it's also very important to realize that is this something you want to do for the rest of your life? And as we were talking about, he's a great musician, singer-songwriter, something that he would do really well at, but realizing that sometimes you have to create that as you go along and then switch it over. And being an author myself, I'm about to publish my seventh book, which is really cool. And this is a health book. I have four historical fiction books. We started talking about what's important, and we were talking about relationships, whether it be a marriage, a friendship, a relationship with, somebody who is your partner. And so often, as you probably know, in our country, 50% of all marriages end in divorce. Now, that's a pretty bad number, but out of those 50% that don't get divorced, you got to ask yourself, how many of them are really happy? How many of them feel stuck in a situation? How many of them are afraid to move? Have decided that it's too late, they're too old, they don't have any wherewithal to change something, and they feel trapped. And that might be a good lot in life for them. They might be settled down to decide that's where they want to do. Or they might go, you know what? I really wish there was something else to do. Now, I have a really good analogy here. So many of us get involved in a relationship and we don't do it because we aren't attracted to that person or don't like that person at the time. Why would we do that? We get involved with somebody who we are enamored with, we are excited to be around, where there's all of the different emotions of being involved in that relationship that really make our lives happy. But what happens? Over time, we just kind of lose that energy and lose that momentum. Oftentimes, the honeymoon is gone, the honeymoon phase is over. But as I've been in practice for 36 years and I've seen many, many people in relationships, breakups, confusions, depressions, anxieties, excitement about being in relationships. And one thing that I realized over all this time and in talking to different people is it always started out great, but then it didn't get so great. And we go to work and we work really hard, and then we come home, and the person that we're doing this for, or the family we're doing this for, we go home and we're too tired to create that relationship. So we kind of get used to going, I'm just going to sit on the couch and I'm too tired. Let's just do this or do that. And pretty soon the relationship dies in many cases. How many people do you know that are married to their childhood sweetheart, been married 20, 30, 40, 50 years? I have patients here married 60 years, met on the beach in Santa Cruz. One of them was playing guitar, the guy, and the girl was with a bunch of friends from out of town 65 years ago, fell in love, and they're still in love. My favorite aunt and uncle, Jerry and Elaine, they live up in Alaska. They were childhood sweethearts, met at 16 and 17. We just were up a year or so ago celebrating their 70th wedding anniversary with them. And they're still in love, and they're a model of inspiration to me for relationships. I would love to have that. But what percentage of those people that have been so lucky to meet the right person that long ago and are still together with them? Um, do you think that just happened because they didn't work on it? There is definitely that long kindred spirit and love for each other, but it has to be recreated every day. And the minute you stop creating it, it will go away. And I liken this to, what if you got your dream job, the best job you could ever imagine, the best pay, the best hours, best location, everything was great. And then how hard would you keep that job as long as it was the most important, coolest, most exciting job you ever had? You would work hard for that. You would show up. You would make sure that you were prepared to create what was needed and wanted that day from you. And also be looking for advancement, always being the first one on in the line to help further the business. You work harder than anybody else purposely because you like what you do, you believe in the cause, and you want to make things happen. And then you go home. And you go, oh, honey, I'm tired. Can I have a martini or whatever it is you do to relax? The kids come up and want to play. You don't have enough time to talk to them. Your wife wants to talk to you about everything that's gone on in the day, or your husband does, and you don't want to listen because you're tired. What happens to that relationship is it will start to dull and dull and dull to a point where it goes out of existence. That's where the 50% divorce rate comes. Now, a lot of the divorce rate comes because of people doing many, many different things that they shouldn't be doing. Maybe they spend all the money, maybe they're not making any money, they're not contributing, maybe there's infidelity, um, lack of interest, lack of creating with that other person. But you know what? You should treat that relationship as though it was your dream job. That relationship, you show up to that relationship every day with the same vim and vigor that you would that job that you love so much and you don't ever want to lose. So that is what I encourage you to start to take a look at. In fact, my new book is going to really address this in a big way because of the divorce rate, and then 50% that aren't divorced, maybe 40% of them don't feel like they're 40% of the 50. That's 80% of the ones that stay married are not in an ideal relationship. Maybe there's a percentage of them that are just getting by, a percentage of them that hate where they're at in life, a percentage of them that tolerate and try to make it go right. And then there's that fringe group that just love each other still. They create, they show up every day to work, and they're going to earn their keep. So that's my message to you and for the holidays and for the people that you run into and love for the holidays is remember why you're there. Now, it's not too late for a new beginning. It's never too late for a new beginning. So remember, you can start this again. And if you're in a relationship that you feel like you need to rekindle, I recommend that you just sit down and have a discussion and go, you know what? You've been the love of my life ever since I met you. I think that I've allowed the hard work and other situations in the world make me forget exactly why I do what I do. And I do it for you. I do it for us. I do it so that we can enjoy our time together. And I'm sorry, I see that what's happened is both of us work hard. You might raise the kids and take care of them. We come home, we eat, we watch TV and go to bed. There's a few things that you could do different that could make a huge difference in your life. Now, the holidays is the right time to do this. There's no time, uh, there's no bad time to do it, but right now is a good time because for a lot of people, the this time of year, whether you believe in the holidays or not, it's the end of the year. It's a new beginning is coming. We're going to come out of winter into spring, the spring of life, and look at that as the spring of your life. Look at it as a time for you to actually recreate the world the way you want it to be. I'm going to be I'll be 70 years old in February. And my goal is I've got 10, 15 great years left. I figure 85, even into 90. All my ancestors lived to be in their late 90s, so I probably will too because I'm a lot healthier than they, you know. I'm not a chronic drinker like most of them were. I don't smoke, and I try to stay healthy. And I eat clean. When I go into the store, I pick out the organic stuff around the perimeter and I stay away from the foods that are in boxes with labels on it, with words on it I can't understand or pronounce. And that would be part of my advice to you to stay in the game, to stay as one of the players in that most perfect work environment that you could ever imagine, that most perfect ideal job you could ever have where you are vying for position, wanting to be on top of the game, and always the one looked to when something is needed or wanted, and they know they can count on you. Well, that is your role in the love affair that you're in or the relationship you're in. That's your job. And I don't think anybody ever explained it to me that way, that my job in a relationship is to treat that relationship as though my job was the most important, best, most amazing job opportunity I've ever had in my life. And that is to create this relationship for a lifetime. And there's bumps in the road. Things don't go well, just like a business. Things don't go well. You have a good month, a bad month. Things are going to happen in your life that are going to cause you to have to readjust your energy, your attitude, your financial situation, and even your health. Things are going to happen with your health or the health of your family or spouse or people you know. You need to come to the table for that, you know? And maybe right now, to be honest with you, our health in this country is terrible. I was going to use the word deplorable, but that would be the healthcare system is deplorable. It's a sickness care system. You all know that. You don't need me to tell you that anymore. We're done with the over medicating of the body to see if we could kill the bug before the body dies of chemical poisoning from the drugs. Okay? That's maybe overstated, but you get my point. I'm getting a lot of patients coming into my office these days going, I do not want to take the medications. I want to get my body healthy. I believe it does have the power to get healthy. And by the way, how many eons has this type of body been on the planet? How many eons has man been around? For several millennia, drugs came well, I'm not even going to start talking about that because I know I'm on Facebook Live and they'll shut me off, which they've been doing anytime I mention anything like that. So I'm not going to mention it today because I don't want to be shut off. I want to get my message out on how important it is to create your relationship with your family, your work too, I mean, show up for yourself. That you have one life, one body, right? Your responsibility is to take care of your body. It's not anybody else's responsibility. Because if you put your health in the hands of others, I think you're going to be sorely mistaken or sorely disappointed. Take a look at the health of our country. The average person in this country, we're rated, there's 76% of the people in this country, 76% of 380 million people have at least one chronic disease. 80 million people have multiple chronic disease. 60% of our children have at least one chronic disease. When I was a kid, we didn't even know what a chronic disease was really, especially in our children. Now, some things are happening in Washington right now with the head of the Health and Human Services Department, where he's stamping out special interests, lies that have been going on for so long, putting trillions of dollars in the pockets of certain people to the detriment of the health of us as individuals. So these days are over. It's done. We are now on the verge of a complete change in the health of the people, citizens of the United States. And it's not coming because healthcare is cheaper. You know, cheaper drugs and cheaper healthcare does not equate to a better, healthier body. What equates to a better, healthier body is a body that communicates better with all those 75 trillion cells. There's something, I was talking to a patient this morning. She came in yesterday. She's a young woman. Some conditions that are pretty challenging for her. We sat down, we did an evaluation. I took a full set of x-rays. We did one of our soft wave treatments on her low back because she was in severe pain. Came in today and said that was 90% better. The symptoms were. That doesn't mean we fixed the underlying cause yet, or I stand corrected. The body hasn't corrected that self yet, where our whole goal is to remove interference so the body can correct itself. But I went through my reevaluation with her. I went through the x-ray exam, showed her how the nerves work, how an improperly aligned bone will wear out the spine, damage the nerves. Those nerves go to 70, 1/62nd of 75 trillion cells because we have 31 nerves on each side, 62 go to 75 trillion cells. One nerve out of your spine goes to over a trillion cells. That's a lot of function in the body. So that needs to work well. Those nerves come out of your neck, into your shoulders, to your hands, thyroid, lungs, heart, down into your upper back, again to the heart, lungs, thymus gland, which is really important for your immune system. You go down to right below your shoulder blades and back. Those nerves go to your lungs, your big upper digestive tract, your esophagus that you swallow through, into the stomach. Mid-back nerves go to the stomach, help the body coordinate digestion. And then as we move down into the upper belly, the small intestines connect to the stomach, and those nerves come out of the mid back to control that area. And then the large intestine down near the bottom, the colon, which is the large intestine, your all those different organs, the ovaries, the uterus, the bladder, the testes, the prostate, all are have innervation throughout the spine. They need to be working at 100% in order for your body to stay healthy. And just like you need to be showing up at 100% for that family member, that love of your life, because you want to keep that job. You want to make that happen. You don't want to be one of the 50% that just gave up on your vows, that gave up on your responsibility to keep the relationship going. And it's the other person's responsible too, but I'm speaking to you. Yeah, I'm talking to you today and me. Believe me, I'm always talking to myself and I'm talking out loud and I just happen to be on the radio. So what the heck? You get to listen to my mind work or not work. So as we're talking about bodily function and making sure the body's working well, part of the responsibility of you and your whoever you're in a relationship with, and even if you're not in a relationship right now, this is how you develop that if that's what you want. You have to be a desirable person for yourself. You need to be able to show up for yourself. You need to be able to eat right. Nobody's perfect. We go out but you got to do more right stuff than wrong stuff longer. It's when we do the wrong stuff more than the right stuff that it catches up with us. And depending on your luck in genetic engineering, in other words, we all have a family genetic line. Some are healthier than others. Mine's luckily comes from a healthy one, but that doesn't mean I take advantage of it. A lot of people, I mean, diabetes, over 60 to 70% of our country are diabetic or pre-diabetic. That's not genetic. That's environmentally produced. There's no way that in 1968 or 1965, when I was 8 or 9, 10 years old, the only diabetes you heard about in children was type 1 diabetes. They called it um, type 1 or adolescent diabetes, whatever they called it. Now it's type 2 diabetes because, so many kids, 30% of them, 40% are diabetic or pre-diabetic. That's not genetic, that's environmental. That is the responsibility of the Food and Drug Administration, the responsibility of CDC, who are supposed to keep us healthy, were asleep at the wheel or on the payroll because we are the sickest country in the industrialized world and we should be the healthiest. And we will be. It might take a generation or so, a decade or two for us to turn around this disease and all of the things that are causing it. But I just want you to know that your body has the power and the ability to be healthy. It can be, and it should be. And it's up to you because even your mom's not going to make you healthy for crying out loud. She might tell you to eat your broccoli. When I was a kid, we stuck the broccoli in the leg of the table because I didn't want it. So if it's to be, it's up to you. And this is the message I want to get out to you. I want you to really consider. I'm not going to tell you what to do. I would highly recommend that you consider today as the first day of the rest of your life. I'd like you to consider that today you could make any change that you want. You can start the course towards a new path, down a new path to a new set of goals. And the only reason you're not doing it is because you don't start, right? And so I'm going to take a break in just a second, and then I'll be back and we'll continue on with this. So, hello, this is Dr. Duncan McCollum, and I'm coming to you from McCollum Wellness Radio. And I just want to invite you to come see us for the holidays, McCollum Family Chiropractic in Capitola. We have so many amazing things that we can do to improve your health here. Of course, chiropractic, the soft wave therapy machine, the hydrowave therapy, which helps draw your own stem cells into the body where they need to be, the areas of damage. We have cold lasers from Erconia. Over 21 of the 26 studies on cold lasers were paid for and performed with actual double-blind studies to show their efficacy. And they have to be 30% better than the ones with no studies. You're probably listening to a lot of the studies out there that they're looking at where there weren't really any double-blind studies, but they were coming out with evidence saying that something worked, but they didn't have real double-blind studies. They were fixed. These were not fixed. So the soft wave therapy helps bring your own stem cells into the area. The Erconia cold laser, 3 colors, green, violet, and red, supercharge your mitochondria. And we have a $49 special, a chance for you to come in. 49 bucks. Sit down and talk to me about your health. We'll take an area of the area complaint and we'll do not only a soft or the hydrowave therapy on it for stem cells, we'll also throw in a laser treatment as well. And then we'll have you come back and we'll see whether or not it helped you and make any other recommendations. So there's so many avenues of being healthy. The nervous system is the number one system out of all 12 systems. We did not learn about it in school. Come see us, 831-459-9990. Call today, 831-459-9990. Okay, I'm back. Dr. Duncan McCollum coming to you from McCollum Wellness Radio. And we're discussing this amazing opportunity that you have. I am going to give you the interview of a lifetime. We're going to interview you to have the best job you've ever had, the highest financial reward, the highest personal reward, and for as long as you want to be employed. And that's when you show up as the best you can for that job. And if you don't, you get fired. You have to show up every day to that job, and it's going to be the best thing you ever had. But you have to show up and perform. And that job is you and your whoever your relationship is with. Because so many of us work, 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 go home. And what happens? We end up in 50% of us divorce. Might still have our job, but we've lost our family. So maybe our priorities need to be shifted. Maybe that number one job should be our relationship and our love life with that person that we care so much about, that person that we couldn't wait to go out with, that person we were so excited to date. And then they said yes. And then we did it again. And the next thing you know, we were desirous to be around each other all the time. And then we started a life together. And then things got tough. Then we kind of avoided each other. Then we stopped talking. And now we get by. And eventually that kind of relationship, 50% of the time goes away. It does not have to. Today's the best day to change that. And I really encourage you to do it. My new book coming out is going to help you with this. It's a New Hope series book. And I've I've interviewed a lot of people about this. I've been in practice for 36 years, and I've had over 21,000 patients walk through my doors, and we've helped as many of them as they could when they decided they wanted the care or not. Sometimes we're not the right place for people. But one thing I've learned is if you show up with 100% integrity and keep that interest alive as long as you can, you're going to stay employed to that person you love. That's going to be the best thing you've ever done is by showing appreciation, showing admiration, not having to be right, being willing to, you don't have to admit you're wrong just to save peace. That would not be the right thing to do. Excuse me, but being willing to agree to disagree would be a good thing to do. You know, the person that I'm going out with, we love each other tremendously. And there's some major issues that we have that we disagree on. We could sit down and argue about them, and we'd probably not be together today. But what's more important is the admiration that we have for each other, how much fun we have together because we do the things that we like together. We embellish the things that we like, and we've run into some problems with those diverging subjects or opinions. So we have a choice. Does that become a big issue for us? We can't change it anyway, or do we decide our we are so lucky to be together. We're so lucky to have found somebody that we even want to be with, that that's more important and outweighs our differences of opinion on things that we really can't change anyway. So this is just my viewpoint. It's just something that I found helps me. Um, and I work at it, and some days I forget, and I go home and I'm tired, and I go home and probably don't listen as well as I should. And, maybe I'm a little grumpy, but I try to catch myself and go, wait a minute. I work how many hours? Some days I used to work, I don't anymore, work 12-hour days at the chiropractic office, adjusting 100 people a day. That was normal, maybe 125, 150 by myself. I can't do that anymore. I'm 70 darn years old. But, I'd go home and I would be tired and I let things slide. And, you know, I would want to just go relax and not talk to anybody. Well, where did that get me? It didn't help out very much in my relationship at the time. And we're still friends, but we're not married. So, I've learned a lesson. I would love to say my lesson, but I know there's more coming my way. Um, my goal has always been to help people ever since somebody helped me with my broken back, and I was carried into a chiropractic at age 20 and walked out on my own. Um, a few visits to this Dr. York in town, Santa Cruz here, I decided to devote my life to chiropractic. I had a lot of trouble learning this. I couldn't read when I was 28. I couldn't even put three words together on a comic strip without getting frustrated. That's hard to imagine now for me. It's hard to imagine, but it was true. And I gave up a few times trying to go to school. I couldn't read. I could listen. I couldn't read. Dyslexia, diagnosed at age in first grade. I don't think I ever had it. I just made a C backwards and missed work and made a big deal out of it. Why didn't she just make me write a C the right way 100 times? That would have been a great idea. But no, I had to have the stigma of being different and being dumb, really. As it turned out, I got real smart eventually, relatively. If I was real dumb then, um, I don't think I'm very smart. I'm just me. But I love writing books. I've published six. I got another one coming out, New Hope for something after 60, and it will be out probably mid next year, if not sooner. I've been working on it for quite a while. I've working with some pretty amazing people in the world of health, in a big, big way. People not just locally in town here, but working with leaders in the health field, in a lot of different arenas. It's pretty exciting being with these guys that are really changing the world. I mean, some of the people are even up there working with the people in Washington to change the health of our country. And I feel very inspired to be part of that, just changing the health here locally. And oh, by the way, in January, if you're listening to this, I will be repeating this more, but about the 15th of January, we're going to be doing a 7 week program, basically a fasting, a detox, a ketogenic lifestyle program. It's online. We've been doing it for 7 or 8 years now. And you'll be able to join that at a really huge discount, 50% off. It's going to start about the 15th. I will be doing a beginning class somewhere. You'll know about that. You can come to it. And then we're going to get going. And then probably halfway through, we'll meet again. And then at the end, typically people can drop anywhere from uh, 10, 15, 20, even 30 pounds or more safely. And we're not doing all these drugs that you inject into your body that could potentially cause a lot of damage. And the reason they do damage is because, as you know, if you've listened to my show, toxins build up in the fat cells. And when you dump a lot of fat cells really quick, you're dumping a lot of toxins in there real quick. And that would could make you very sick. Just think about this. It's a terrible analogy, but let's say you had a motorhome and you go to the bathroom as you're driving around the country and you flush the toilet and it goes down into that motorhome. So those that container would be like a fat cell or all of the accumulated fat cells in your body. You flush it goes down there, you flush it goes down there. Well, when you go to the place where you clean that whole thing out and it dumps all that stuff out at once, that's pretty bad, pretty toxic. Well, that's what happens when you try to lose fat cells too quickly. You're dumping the stored inert toxins that are stuck in those fat cells into your bloodstream in a heartbeat, like dumping the bilge. So many people get sick. It can turn on bad genes in the body and start chronic genetic diseases that would normally not be turned on because it takes a lot of toxins in the cell to turn them on. So you want to do stuff safely. I mean, if you had a, a Porsche, you spent $120,000 on it, would you try to find a screwdriver and fix it yourself if you didn't know about mechanics? That's just a car. Your body's made up of 75 trillion cells, and there's 12 systems that run that. The nervous system is number one. It runs all the other systems: circulatory system, respiratory system, digestive system, muscular system, respiratory system, immune system, all of them, all run by the nervous system. But we never learned that in school. We learned get a symptom, take a drug. Get a symptom, take a drug. In fact, don't have any symptoms, put all this stuff in your body because it will stop you from getting sick. Well, look where that got us. The last few years, that didn't pan out very well. So, part of what I'm talking about here, there's twofold. Number one, treat your body like it is the only body you got, because it is. Don't allow anybody to take care of it but you. Now, you may not have the education of an understanding, but you need to find the right places to do it. The class will be doing, you can call the office 831-459-9990 and say, hey, I want to sign up for the 7-week course starting in January. And now my staff is probably going to go, the what? Dr. McCollum talked about it on the radio. Oh, not again. Okay, well, let's find out what he's talking about this time. But literally, you can call up and say, just put me on the list. Here's my number. Dr. McCollum, get back to me when we get it organized. Because I want to help you be healthy. I want to help you with your goals. The reason we don't do it right off is because people start and stop by the 15th of January. So we're picking it up about the 15th. And you're going to get access to the website. There's a 7-week course. Every week is laid out with instructions, with gradient approaches to getting your body to dump weight safely, different type of dietary plans, shopping lists, information on what and why you're doing what you're doing. And this is part of my goal for you to be able to show up to that job that you like so much, that job that you can't find a better one on the planet, that job where you would give your eye teeth to keep, and that job, of course, being the relationship you're in. Start to look at that not as something to go home and relax to. It's too comfortable. Go, my job is to do something to make my spouse feel special tonight. That's all I want to do. Make her or him feel special. It doesn't have to be a big thing because you're tired, but you got to do something to let them know that your whole day revolved about so that you could come home and be tired with them. Okay. But you got to let them know it. Because if you don't, pretty soon you'll be coming home alone. And the statistics show that. Or you'll be coming home to somebody who doesn't care about you that much anymore, who just is kind of used to you. Here's your dinner. You get your own dinner. Okay, I'm going out with the boys or the girls. And then, I hear it and I see it way too many times. Groups get together and all they do is complain about their spouse. Now, some of them do it just to complain. Others do it because they're really not happy. And you don't want to be the recipient of that. You don't want to be that person. You don't have to be that person. You can change your life today in a heartbeat. And all you have to do is go home or text whoever it is and go, hey, you know what? I just forgot to thank you for that great dinner last night. That was really amazing. Or, you were wearing those earrings, or I like your haircut, or, notice the haircut for sure. Um, and vice versa. It doesn't matter if you're male, female, whatever your orientation is. You just need to make your relationships important, especially if you want to have a good love life, because communication is the key. It's the universal solvent. And when you stop communicating verbally, you stop communicating emotionally, and pretty soon there is no physical communication either. Okay? So don't blame the other person. Don't blame yourself. Just change it. Make a difference in your life by making a difference in others' lives. Now, we talk about gratitude a lot, right? I don't have a bottle of gratitude in here with me. I should. But, we have bottles of gratitude. In fact, a lady came in a couple of weeks ago, a listener, and she said, hey, I want to talk to you about potentially bringing a friend of mine in here or a client of mine. And I listened to your radio show. Do you have any of those bottles of gratitude around? Yeah, sure we do. I gave her a couple bottles, and you're welcome to come get them. That would be a great start. Come get a bottle of gratitude or two and give one to your spouse and go, honey, look, I got a bottle of gratitude for you. And a vitamin G is what it is, really. Vitamin G, 100% gratitude. Don't keep out of reach of children. Not approved by the FDA, CDC, FBI, CIA, a World Health Organization. But it's universally one of the best vitamins you can take. Vitamin G, and it's free. Come get as much as you want. All right. So, um, again, I just got a few more minutes here, but I want to really reiterate how important it is for you to find that thing that motivates you to have the greatest job you've ever had in your life come to fruition for you. And I started off the show talking about this weekend with my son, Angus. We were driving up in the Sierras, fly fishing because everybody else was scattered around the country. And we were talking about relationships and what's important and why they go south. And one of the reasons they go south, and I've heard this from a few friends lately who've had relationships go south. And inevitably, it comes down to pretty much the same thing. And that is, I just stopped making her or him important. I wish they gave me a box that said, here are a bunch of dates we can go on. I never opened one. Um, Gosh, what are your thoughts? What are things that you know that you could have been doing that you're not, that has either caused you to split up from the person that you at one point was the perfect spouse for you, the perfect job, the perfect everything that you wanted in life. And then you stopped creating it. You stopped making that person important because he came home tired working so you could afford the lifestyle and the support needed to create this thing. So everything that you're doing out there to create it made you come home and not create it because you forgot. Flunk, change it. It's time for you to do something different. And that doing something different is to make today the first day of the rest of your life. There's no reason that you can't make this the best day of your life. And I encourage you to listen to this program. It's on KSCO, it's on Santa Cruz Voice, and you can find them again. This will be up on my website, Dr. Duncan McCollum, Dr. Duncan McCollum YouTube, and it will be on my podcast pretty soon, which is McCollum Wellness Radio on any place you find them, Spotify, Apple Music, whatever. I've got over 250 um, podcasts on there. So you can listen to them as you drive. They're all about an hour long. They're all my radio show. And I would love for you to share, join, follow, do whatever you can to help me spread the word out to people because, I don't have anything better to do really. If I had something better to do, I'd be doing it. But right now I want to be here talking with you about what you might do to help you have a better life. Get off the sugar, get off the grains, drink more water, take a walk after dinner, get a good night's sleep if you can. Those are all things that we know. But having a positive mental attitude is tough when you don't recreate that all the time. Now, there's something that I came across the other day along this line. I've written several books, but the first health book was New Hope for Sciatica because I'd had low back pain all my life and, really bad sciatica along the way. Completely gone. I've learned how to fix it. I've been studying for over 40 years on how to fix things like that. Very successful. It's a classic condition we work with here. Low back pain, sciatica pain, um, weakness in the extremities. Peripheral neuropathy is, wow, we've had some amazing results with that. So if you know anybody with that, send them in. My second book, Turn Back Your Biological Clock, New Hope for Peripheral Neuropathy. And this in that book, now that we're out of pain, we go, well, how do we live? So let's turn back our clock. Let's figure out how to change our diet, lose those toxins out of our body, get our energy back, and do it in a way that it can be a lifestyle change, not a diet. Diets never work. They last for a minute. When you get off of them, not only do you gain your weight back, but usually another 5 to 10 pounds, right? Do I have a witness? Okay. So, in this new book, The New Hope for Something After 60, I'll just tell you that, is how to, now that you've got out of pain, you got your body healthy, how do you enjoy your love life? How do you enjoy being with those people you love? There are things that we need to learn as individuals. There are rules that we need to follow. There are bad habits we got to fix. And that book will be coming out soon. But then I realized one interesting thing. We see people on health kicks, on workout kicks, on, fasting, dietary changes, ketogenic diet, the protein diet, the Mediterranean, all this stuff. To do what? To get healthy. For what reason? To get healthy. Yeah, but what are you going to do when you get healthy? You're going to try to achieve your dreams and goals in life. People that are not talking about that necessarily. Some people are. People like Tony Robbins and those guys have, that's what they do. But for you and me, we need to think about what we want to do in the next 3 to 5 years. And now's a perfect time to do it. Now, you can think about that with your perfect job, which is your family, which is the person that you are in love with, or the one that you want to find and create. Same thing. You need to create, you need to be that person that other person is seeking. I have a good friend who's no longer with us. His name was Norman. And Norman always used to say to me, because many years ago we were talking, I'm going, if I could only meet, this whatever kind of girlfriend I was looking for at the time. And it was always something maybe out of my reach. And Norman would go, Dunky, he was from Long Island or something. He'd go, Dunky, if you're gonna be looking for somebody like that, you better be a 10 yourself. And I looked at him and I went, and I looked at myself and I went, well, I don't work out. I don't, not taking that good of care of myself. My back hurts. And I went, wow, you got a good point. So you need to show up and you need to be in a condition that somebody is going to be interested in you. And that's working on yourself. That is showing up and applying for the job that you probably won't get. You go up and you dress up, you put your best clothes on, and you show up for the interview, and you look around the room, and there's all these other people, and your confidence starts to go down. You go, well, I don't know. I might as well just walk out now. Or you go, you know what? I got this. They're the best perfect people there. You ever watch American Idol? Some 14-year-old girl comes up there, and Simon goes, do you think you can win? And she goes, you bet. I'm going to win this thing. Now there's confidence. Why not? What if you don't? Get up and do it again. Get up and do it again. Get up and do it again. I have a really good friend, and he was kind of a rough neck, a real rough guy. I won't go into the details, but he was married to this, and still is, this beautiful woman from back east who was kind of in the high society Philadelphia families thing. And she was out here, and when I first met them, I looked at the guy and I looked at her and go, how the hell is he going out with this person? They looked like completely opposite of what you would expect. And so I got to know him pretty well over the years. And he told me one day, he goes, you know what? I asked her out 13 times. I got to know because she had worked at some place that he would go in a lot. She goes, I asked her out. The first time she did, kind of laughed me away. Second time, third time. On the 14th time he asked her out, she said yes. And they've been married for about 50 years. Incredibly happy. So, persistence is important. Certainty is important. How do you become more certain? Because you're doing everything you can to do the best job you can. And that is how you get along in life in much better than just letting the chips fall where they may. and giving up on your dreams and goals. So I'm about done with this show today. I'm really talking about creating the best life you can for yourself. This time of year is a great time to start thinking about it. You're going to be around, potentially be around a lot of family, or not at all. I'm sorry, whatever works for you or doesn't, or the losses that you've had, and we all have, and I feel bad for that for you. But I do also feel like, it is what you make it. You can't change your yesterdays. We can't. We want to live for today and create our tomorrows. So let's live for today. And the way you do that is to make today the best day ever. Even if you feel like, the C word, even if you feel that way, you're lucky to be on the planet. You're lucky to live in the United States. You may not feel like it all the time, but make it the best day you can because nobody's going to do it besides you. And the one way you can do that is go out and appreciate other people. Go out and say hi to somebody. If you're at a grocery store and the person's grumpy, still say hi to them. My son went into a gas station in some little town up in the mountains called Fernley, right? He came out and goes, I couldn't make that girl smile for the life of me. And then she walked out. She was like 23 years old, roughneck. And he goes, I tried to make her smile, and she just said, what do you want? And then I said, you know what? You never know. Whatever you did today is probably going to affect her down the road and make her day a little better because somebody was nice to her. You never know how far-reaching a small act of kindness can go. So I encourage you to go out and show kindness to other people because that's what you should do. That's what we need to do. We need to show kindness, understanding, and respect for everybody, no matter what side of the spectrum they're on right now. This is a perfect day for a new beginning. And I'm just going to really encourage you to go out there and make it the best day you can. And thank you for listening. This is Dr. Duncan McCollum. And I really enjoy putting my thoughts out on the air. Hopefully you get something out of it. Please share my story. Share my station. You can get to McCollum Wellness Radio podcast off of Spotify or Apple. Copy them. Send them to somebody that you think needs to hear it. You can go to Duncan McCollum YouTube. All of my over 250 radio shows are there recorded as a video. You can come into my office for $49 and get a stem cell treatment, x-ray consultation, follow-up, full set of digital x-rays for 39 bucks and consultation and a next day report to see what's going on. If you have peripheral neuropathy, don't mess around with it. Come in and see us. $99, full set of x-rays, complete neurological evaluation, a soft wave treatment, laser treatment, follow-up evaluation to see if we can help you. Life's too short to be miserable. So don't be miserable. Come and see us, see if we can help you. I know I can't help everybody, and I do sometimes have to tell people we're not the right office for them. And I hate to do it, but sometimes I have to. And sometimes people just elect not to do what we have to offer, and that's fine too. So we do have the option open for you, 831-459-9990. Call 831-459-9990. This is Dr. Duncan McCollum. I'm in Capitola. I've been doing this for a long time, 36 years in practice, and I see so many people walk in pain and walk out with a smile on their face. And hopefully that will be you. All right, have a great day. We'll see you next week.